I wanted to talk about the idea that resilience looks different in chronic versus acute setbacks. I think when we talk about resilience, most of the time we're thinking about that acute issue of something dramatic happens. But when you think about a chronic situation, it too requires resilience. As a college athlete, I injured my knee in a gymnastics competition. It was like a very obvious, significant, I was like screaming on the ground. That's an acute injury. That's like an acute setback. Everybody gets it, everyone understands, and everyone is sympathetic. You need time, you're on crutches, you can't walk, you need to get surgery, you need to do physical therapy. These are all things people understand and people can support you. And it's very obvious that you need to respond to the setback, restore, rebuild, all that stuff. And on the other side, you have what are more like chronic. You might call them minor, but they're not minor when you add them up. So going back to the sports metaphor, it could be a nagging ankle issue or tightness in your shoulder that if you don't take care of it, eventually becomes a really big problem, but it is up to you to make the move and take the action. And so people just aren't as sympathetic to it because they don't really see why it's such a big deal. Everybody has a little tightness here and there. Everybody's a little sore here and there. This chronic concept applies to relationship. If you go through a divorce or if somebody dumps you, totally get it. But then chronic issues may be things just aren't clicking for you and your partner. Communication isn't there, or they occasionally just say things that really hurt you. And no one thing is enough to say, okay, we need to go to couples counseling, or maybe it doesn't make sense anymore. The skills are different. When you think about responding to a chronic period of adversity is to first recognize that this is happening, that it's real, getting the information you need to start to make decisions, actually making the decision to say, I'm going to do something about this problem. Restoring looks different. Being able to actually talk to friends who understand that this is a real thing that you're struggling with and that you need help with. Getting support looks different, but it's still really necessary, and recognizing that the feelings you're feeling are real and valid. Rebuilding looks different because it's not going to be something that is fixed overnight, and it'll be months, maybe even years before you fully feel better. It's going to be a lot more gradual because if you're getting into credit card debt, you get into debt one day at a time and you're going to get out of it one day at a time. You're not going to randomly have some huge windfall for the most part that's going to change things. It really is about taking those steps. And so your habits become really important here, because developing the habit to set boundaries or to do physical therapy and strength training work or to put money aside after every paycheck, those are habits that are going to take time to develop and take time to see results. And finally, the reflection. When we have these sorts of issues, they happen in a moment or time and they fit neatly into the narrative. Okay, this thing happened, I lost my job, and then I changed my career, and then such and such happened. It's going to look different for chronic conditions as well, where this is going to be something that's been undergirding some of my experiences for months, maybe even years. And yeah, there's still going to be big decisions. I decided to move. I decided to move on. I finally saw a doctor. But you're going to have to really think through how you tell that narrative, because it's not going to be as simple and as straightforward as I got the surgery and 6 months later, I was back to whatever. There aren't as clean cut. Both acute and chronic situations or challenges require resilience, but what they do look like manifests itself in different ways. So anyway, that was the thought for today. Thanks for hanging out. Until next time, take care of yourself, take care of others, and ship work that matters. Peace.